Hello, good morning. Today we will discuss about the cryptogams and differences among them. Let us start with the general classification. So, kingdom plantae is divided into two forms where the plant body is not well differentiated. They are called as thallophyta, such as algae, fungi. In the other category where the plant body is differentiated and they further do not possess any vascular tissue such as xylem and phloem, then they are called as bryophyta, amphibians of plant kingdom. And if plant body possess vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, such as pteridophyta, because they contain the vascular tissue in the form of steel. So further they are also classified into two forms where they do not produce seeds. They are called as pteridophyta, and if they produce seeds and seeds are naked, then they are gymnosperms. And if seeds present inside the fruits, then they are the angiosperms. So this is the basic classification of the plant kingdom: thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm and the angiosperm. So now start with the general characteristics of bryophyta. So division bryophyta includes about 25,000 species of non-vascular embryophytes such as mosses, liverwort and the hornworts. So basically three major classes they are in the bryophyta. They are the liverwort, hornworts and the mosses. So basically bryophytes are the small plant and their size ranges from 2 centimeter to the 60 centimeter and mostly occur in the shady places. They do not attain great height because of the absence of roots, vascular tissue, mechanical tissues and cuticle. They are terrestrial and require external water to complete their life cycle. They are called as the amphibian of plant kingdom and also atracheata or atracheophyta because vascular tissues are absent. Now they have the heterologous haplodiplobuoyantic type of life cycle. One phase is haploid and other phase is diploid. The dominating phase in the bryophyta is gametophytic phase, which is diploid. Thalloid gametophyte differentiated into rhizoids, axes and leaves. Vascular tissue, as I already told you, they are absent. That is xylem and phloems are absent. Gametophytic tissue bears multicellular and jected sex organ. Antheridia and archegonia, and sexual reproduction is oogamous type, mean male is motile and female is non-motile. Multicellular embryo develop inside the archegonia. So bryophytas are the first where the embryo is formed. ठीक है, bryophyta is the first where the embryo is formed. In algae and fungi there is no embryo. So in algae and fungi there is no embryo, never an embryo is formed. Further, sporophyte is differentiated into the foot, seta and capsule. Foot is basically for anchoring the nutrition, and seta is for the conduction, and capsule contain the spores and elaters. Elaters are for the dehiscence of the capsule. They show the hygroscopic movements. Basically spores are homosporous and they will germinate into the juvenile gametophyte, which is called as protonema. So one of the most important character is that sporophyte dependent upon the gametophyte. Sporophyte of bryophyta dependent upon the gametophyte. So let us see the similarities between the bryophyta and pteridophyta. Both are the terrestrial. Both have the heteromorphic type of alternation of generation. Both have multicellular and jected sex organ. Asexual reproduction by the means of mitospores. Accessory spores are absent. Reproduction is oogamous type where the male is motile and non-motile is female. Both have the necessity of water for the reproduction. Common names for both. Archegoniate, where the female sex organ is archegonia. Mean in Bryophyta and Tradophyta, the female sex organ is archegonia. They are also called as the embryophyta, asiphonogamia. In the I already told you that in algae there is no embryo. In Bryophyta, Tradophyta, gymnosperm and angiosperm all have embryo. The cryptogamous algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, we can't see the reproductive structure though, so they comes in the category of cryptogamous. Phanerogamus, that is the gymnosperm and the angiosperms, where the reproductive structures are visible. Let us talk about the habit and habitats. So bryophytes are the simplest terrestrial plants, lack the complex tissue system, and they can grow up to 2 to 5 centimeter tall, other less than the 10 centimeter long, commonly grow in the damp, humid and shaded localities, and they are called as the amphibian of plant kingdom because they can live in soil but are dependent upon water for the sexual reproduction. Main sex organs, main plant body of the bryophyta is haploid and they produce the gametes, and their main plant body is gametophytic. Sex organ in bryophytes are multicellular. Male sex organ is called as antheridium, which produces antheridozoids. Female sex organ is called as archegonium, which produces egg. If we talk about the fertilization, antheridozoids are released into the water and comes in contact with the archegonium. Egg and antheridozoids combined and form the zygote, that is the diploid. Further zygotes develop into the sporophyte. Sporophyte, I already told you, it is dependent upon the gametophyte. Sporophyte is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte, and all nutrition is derived from it. Some sporophytes undergo meiosis or reductional cell division to produce the haploid spores, and the spore germinate to produce the gametophyte. So this is all about the general characteristics of the bryophyta. So let us discuss about the differences between the pteridophytes and the bryophytes. So first, bryophytes, they are called as the mosses and name derived from the bryon, and in the pteridophyta name is derived from the pteron, that is mean feather like plants. They are the amphibians of plant kingdom and also called as the atracheophyta, while the pteridophytes, they are called as the botanical snakes, tracheophyta, because they contain the vascular tissue, and the simplest form of vascular tissue are present in the form of steel. They are the first land plant and they are the vascular cryptogamous. I already told you xylem and phloem tissues appeared first time in the pteridophyta. In the bryophyta, the size of the cells is small and tissue required for the growth are absent. Mean there is no apical growth, conductive tissue is also absent, and secondary growth is also absent. While in case of pteridophyta, they are the first rooted plant and spore producing vascular plant, lower vascular plant, first vertebrates of the plant kingdom. They are also called as the first vertebrates of the plant kingdom, and the size of the cell is large, and only two genera, that is Botricum and Isoetes, show a slight secondary growth. Tissue differentiation in bryophyta is very little, while the tissue differentiation occur in the pteridophyta. In the Elsophila scythia, they are the tree fern and they can reach up to 25 meter in height. Cuticle is absent, while in the pteridophyta cuticle is present. Cuticle is present from pteridophyta to angiosperm, mean it is present in Pteridophyta, Gymnosperm and the angiosperm. In the bryophytes, the life cycle is haplodiploidy. Main phase is haploid, that is the gametophytic phase, while in the Pteridophyta, the life cycle is diplohaplontic. Main phase is diploid, that is the sporophytic. So in this diagram you can see that this is the first picture where the cycle is haplodiploidy, that is started from the gametophytic tissue, while in case of the Pteridophyta, here the life cycle is diplohaploidic, that is it is started from the diploid phase, that is from the sporophytic phase. तो difference है, main phase in the bryophyta is haploid, while in Pteridophyta main phase is the diploid. Already told you that the main phase in the bryophyta is the gametophytic, and the dominating phase in the Pteridophyta it is the sporophytic, that is 2n. Gametophyte independent and autophytic, may be leafy in case of mosses, and in liverwort may also leafy or like thallus like structure. In hornwort it is thallus like structure. And while in the Pteridophyta, gametophyte never will be leafy, or maybe it is in form of thallus, or maybe it is filamentous. 80% of the bryophytas are the leafy gametophyte. In case of Pteridophyta, sporophyte is independent, while in the bryophyta, sporophyte dependent upon the gametophyte and not differentiated into root, stem and leaves, but it is differentiated into foot, seed and capsule, and it is short-lived and less complexed. While sporophyte, it is independent in case of Pteridophyta, and it is differentiated into root, stem and leaves, and it is long-lived and complexed. In Bryophyta, roots are absent, rhizoids are present, and in case of the Pteridophyta, roots are present. Here spelling is little wrong, here is absent, okay. In bryophytas, stem is absent, but in mosses it is present, but it is not true. It is called as caulid. And in the Pteridophyta, stem is present and they have the apical growth. Leaves may be leafy in liverbird or leafy mosses, but that is without the vascular stand, without the stomata, and it is haploid. So this is not the true leaves, and they are called as the phyllids or phylloids. Mean in Bryophyta there is no true leaf, it is haploid and it is without the vascular stands. While in the Pteridophyta, true leaves are present. And we talk about the photosynthesis. Whole plant body is photosynthetic, that is the gametophytic plant body. The photosynthetic tissues are present in the gametophytic body, while in case of the Pteridophyta, only leaves are photosynthetic. Vascular tissues are absent in the Bryophyta, and the vascular tissues are present in the Pteridophyta in the form of stele, that is the simple structure where the xylem is present inside and phloem surrounded the xylem. Now talk about the reproduction. So asexual reproduction in the Bryophyta, they are the non-spongiate, while Pteridophyta, they are the polyspongiate. Bryophytes, they are strictly homosporous, but in the Pteridophyta majority is homosporous. What 9 genera of Pteridophyta are heterosporous. They are Selaginella, Isoetes, Stylites, Marshallia, Pullularia, Salvinia, Azona, Platysoma and Regnelidium. Vegetative reproduction is very common in the Bryophyta. It is less prevalent. The main female sex organ in Bryophyta, it is archegonia, and in the Bryophyta it is also archegonia. They comes in the category of archegoniate, but there is a difference in the structure of archegonia. If it is liverwort and mosses, there are 6 rows of neck canal cell. Exceptions is only in Purella where the 5 rows are present, while in the Pteridophyta, archegonia is less massive or less developed. In Selaginella, it is in the Selaginella there is only one neck canal cell is present, one ventral canal cell is present. Exception is only in Dryopteris where 4 rows of neck is present. In case of the Bryophyta neck canal cell, it is 8 in liverwort, 10 in mosses, and 4 to 6 in the hornworts. Ventral wall in the Bryophyta, single in liverwort, double in mosses, and it is absent in the case of hornwort. Spermatozoids in the Bryophyta, they are the biflagellate. In the Pteridophyta, entheridiozoids may be biflagellate in case of Selaginella, and it may be multiflagellate in case of ferns. Mucilage is produced, sugars, protein, inorganic salts, potassium is present, and it is produced by absorbing the water by the neck canal cell, and they attracts the sperm, and this is called as the chemotaxic type of the attraction. While in case of the Pteridophytas, chemicals are absent. What compound like the citric acid and other salts in case of Lycopodium can be seen, and malic acid or fumaric acid in Selaginella plays a role in the reproduction. So basically bryophytes are the primitive type and the pteridophytes are the advanced type. So this is all about the lecture. Thank you so much. Thanks.